to welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
An accent. We need God. Because only God can bring us out of this mess.
I may not look like you and you me, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Dare to be you, dare to be me, and dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting its glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, and dare to be.
Mike Johnson, how you doing?
Fine. What a great opening. First time I really had a chance to really look at it, to see my former pastor, Earl Gillard, that was very, very special. But, to look at your journey over years, and knows that one of the things that's been consistent with you is that you've just been unapologetically Black. And that's from where I am and from where I sit, that's important. And I just appreciate you giving me an opportunity to run my mouth for about an hour.
Well, what's happening in the city of Baltimore?
Well, a lot, actually. A lot of graduations. Morgan University, my alma mater, I am so sorry. I thought my phone was off. Is having its graduation Saturday. The Preakness race is happening Saturday as well. And of course, we're putting together a festival to celebrate 133 years ago, George Spider Anderson, who became the first African-American to win the Preakness. And what an incredible man, George Spider Anderson. He was from Baltimore. Not a lot is known, but as much as we've been able to do is that we know that on May the 10th, 1889, in front of a huge crowd, at the same location where the Pimlico is, the Preakness, the Pimlico racetrack is, a young man named George Spider Anderson, and they called him George Spider because he was real small, as most jockeys are. But he was an incredibly small, but he was a smart guy. He had been running racing horses around the country and having very successful times. Got into the Preakness on May the 10th and blew everybody away that day and became the first African-American. And since then, 133 years, was the first African-American to win. And there's been one or two jockeys that have won since then, but no African-American jockeys have even really raced into the Preakness until 2012, for almost 100 years.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, they kind of, the people who are involved in the racing industry needed a smaller person, and smaller people are people from different regions of the world. And so they replaced a lot of the jockeys that were Black with jockeys that came from South American and from other places, the Asian countries as well, to replace them because they needed a smaller size for a smaller man. And then I think racism is as American as apple pie. I think it consistently rears its head when it needs to. And I think that kept, not that I think, I'm sure that kept a lot of African Americans out of the racing industry as being no more than at that time but walkers and trainers. And then the African Americans started losing even the strength of being trainers around the 1940s and the 1950s, when big money and gangster money started applying a lot more in the racing industry, because the lottery numbers, as we know, the numbers was connected to the racing industry in Baltimore City. My mother would always say, who was a numbers runner, a number writer, she would always say, well, I got to wait for that seventh race. And that seventh race was usually the end number of the three numbers, which way the numbers had come. So now.
Did you say your mom ran numbers?
My mother was a number writer. There was a difference.
She can't get in trouble for that today, can she?
Oh no, well, hell, the state owns it all today. And I know there is some underground lottery still going on that pays 600 to 1.
Oh, slow down.
Yeah.
Because you scurry upon a bit of history that many of us don't know or forgot about. Now, I want you to tell me what you remember about the man in the deuce and a quarter. Never had a brand new car, but had that old deuce and a quarter. And it came around once a day. And it was the most beautiful demonstration of nonverbal communication that one might ever find in the Black community. When it was time to pay the numbers man.
Oh yeah.
How did that work?
Well, for my family, the way it worked, it was the fruit man at Eddie's Supermarket on Park Heights Avenue that my mother would turn her slips over to. And when it was time to be paid, different folks would come and pay. But that's when Black folk was playing nickels and dimes and quarters in the lotteries. You could win $6 and $30 and $40. There wasn't the dollar bets, and all of those weren't that as much, but it was the nickel, dimes, and a quarter. And then, you know, when it was time to pay off, in my mother's case, it was a man in a black Buick, which you're right, is deuce and a quarter. Actually, I'm sorry, my bad.
Man in the black Buick, that must have been Mr. Harold.
Well, whoever it was up on the heights, it was always actually it was Mr. Hicks. Actually, I do remember his name.
He had a first name. His name was Harold.
Oh, okay. Well, this was Mr. Hicks.
He sounded like a Harold. He had a Buick.
Mr. Hicks drove a black Buick. Yeah, he did. He came off of Queensbury Avenue.
Oh my God, that was like county living, wasn't it?
No, it was just a place that people knew how to act. You wasn't coming to stand on the corners. You wasn't coming to hang in front of the liquor stores. You weren't bothering people coming in and out of churches or all of the things. It was what you and I at that time called a neighborhood. You know, people call it a hood today, which I don't understand even what that means. I know what a neighborhood is because I knew who my neighbor was. But at that time, there were a lot. I mean, there was Julian Salisbury, who owned a couple of bars on the block. His daughter, Iris Salisbury, went to high school with me. And if you ever get a chance to see the movie Liberty Heights, it's about Julian Salisbury, the Jewish gangster who was pretty much doing the numbers. And there's a story out that Lil Melvin had hit the number for 4 digits and had gotten a lot of money, and that Julian Salisbury couldn't pay him right away, but he did pay him eventually. But I knew of Julian Salisbury and the Mafusu brothers who used to own the racetrack. They used to hire my dad, who was a caterer. He would bring his whole family. That's how we had the staff. And I got to watch the Italian and the Jewish gangsters through the early part of the 60s that I could recognize as a young man at times, even as a newspaper boy. But the lottery was a economic driven machine in our community. It was where you played, you gambled, you hit, you got. And sometimes it was only the nickels and the dimes and the quarters. And for those that was winning on a dollar, they were paying actually 600 to 1, not 500 to 1. And that's why it was important for the Maryland Lottery to incorporate and to slow down businessman Willie Adams at that point because of what he knew. If Willie Adams would not have blessed the lottery would have never survived. It would have never made it.
What do you mean?
Well, the street lottery was paying 600 to 1. The Maryland Lottery pays 500 to 1. And so you had to pull back all of the operators, as they were called, in the lottery. And they were being given in a lot of their bars lottery machines and lottery equipment. But if Mr. Adams, and this is just my opinion, mind you, if Mr. Adams had not blessed it, because he owned more liquor license than any African American in the city at the one time, the Maryland lottery wouldn't have survived. 600 to 1 versus 500 to 1. I think that my parents would have still been playing the street lottery at that time.
You know, Michael, $15 billion has been generated through the Maryland State Lottery. Money was promised for education. Yet in 2022, we have a brand new football stadium, a brand new baseball stadium, but the children attend schools with classrooms with Arctic icicles.
But you also got a $1.64 billion budget for 79,000 students. And then we have to question, where's that $1.6 billion, which is more, as you know, as being an international traveler, is more than most countries' GPA. Where is that money going, and how is that money being applied to the school? You know, I looked at the budget, especially this year. I mean, the budget is about so big, and the school board immediately voted for it. Didn't even read it, I'm sure. But yeah, I agree with you. The lottery money, which was supposed to go to education, was diverted into all types of different.
Well, unpack this for me, Michael. We have African Americans in charge.
Yes, we have African Americans in charge who are part of the status quo.
What does that mean?
Does
it mean that they are well off and they can do what they want to do? Because I hear people talking about Donald Trump. Well, Baltimore City Public Schools reminds me of Donald Trump. They do what they want. They say what they want. They keep getting paid, and there's zero accountability.
And that's your gatekeepers, Donnie. Those are the people who are in front of the Black community that you and I fight for constantly and daily. They're in our way, but there's not enough of us screaming, yelling. You know, I still believe in protesting, screaming, yelling, protesting on whatever level we need to in order to say and point the fingers. We don't point the fingers enough. We accept the fact that we are the last in 24 municipalities in the state of Maryland. We are the last, but yet we have the highest budget, a higher budget than Prince George's County, a higher budget than Montgomery County. $1.6 billion is a lot of money for 78,000 students. That almost averages out to $18,500 per student. Now, when you and I were in school, well, I'll say me, and I can kind of do your numbers too. When I was in school, they were spending, $2,200 per student. But we were getting a quality education. It wasn't an average education. When you were in school, they probably had moved up to about $4,000, $5,000 per student. But you were getting a quality education, even though I was an average student.
But that's the part I don't understand. What's the problem today?
You've replaced a lot of seasoned teachers.
Now, this was Andre Salonzo, because to my recollection, he got rid of 75% of the principals all at one time, and nobody said a damn word. I didn't hear none of those. Who are those people you hear all the time with the school board? Marietta English, those same names over and over, the same people they voted for over and over. I don't understand that. That sounds ridiculous too. You're voting for the same person for 20 years, her and the other Black lady. Okay, this 2022, ain't it about time for some new people to get in play?
Well, this is 22 years into the 21st century, and we're still teaching our children in literally the 20th century setup. I was in one of the counties, Bethesda, Maryland, and I went to one of their trade schools, and I looked at their auto department, and their auto department is teaching electric car activity. In Baltimore, we're teaching 1940s gas-fired engine auto mechanic.
Really?
Yeah. But yet you got a $1.64 billion budget that they says, oh, well, we're going to include more arts, Mr. Johnson, and we're going to include more athletics.
But here's the other thing. I've heard Brandon Scott say multiple times how historically underfunded Baltimore City public schools are. Now, Baltimore City puts in about what, 12% of the budget?
12%. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
12 to 13% of the budget. So Baltimore actually kicks in the least amount of any jurisdiction in the state. The average is roughly 32%. But nonetheless, the mayor says, and I don't know, it seems to be, he's gotten very good at not answering questions.
Well, he's gotten good. But when you have 1,100 people making over $120,000 in the school system that has 79,000 students.
That's producing 0.13 GPAs, I'd fire every son of a gun there. And their mama.
You've always would say to me in some of our conversations, even brief conversation, if someone is doing it right, let's copy the person that's doing it right. If the other municipalities, the Bethesdas, the Montgomery County, the Howard County is doing it right, then let's copy what they're doing. Why do we constantly keep doing the wrong thing? When you are the last, we are the last in all of the municipality. Now, let me make this clear. Prince George's County is riding the bull with us, okay? Because they are right above us in the last pile of people. And these are where all, like you said, we have more Black legislators than any other state in the country. And they come out of Prince George's County and Baltimore City and Baltimore County.
Maybe we've reached the point that we don't need Black politicians anymore.
No, for me, I believe that.
I say that because
it's the
when a Black politician justifies bottleneck traffic, to me, Donnie Glover on West North Avenue, something I've been traveling since 1968, damn near by myself. When somebody try to tell me what is and isn't, when you can plainly see there's a whole damn lane that's wide open, why do you have bottleneck traffic? When a lazy ass politician try to tell me that it's for my benefit, I want to push his ass in the harbor or her ass.
But the problem is here come election year in 30 something days, and these same people will be voted. So are we blaming
the Black community? Because you're too busy looking at the other community, trying to be accepted by the other community. And as soon as they kick you to the curb, like Will Smith, and they always do, then you come back crying to the Black community. Classic example. What's going on Radio 1 right now?
Well, they're trying out a commentary. They're trying out a host for every 2 weeks.
Are you kidding me?
Every 2 weeks, they're trying out a different host.
Who is on there today?
Kathy Pugh.
Oh my God. Are you serious? How much of an insult is that to the Black community?
But how many folks are calling Howard Mazer at 410-481-1010 and saying that I'm displeased with it? This is what they do. This is what people that are not part of our community do. And the problem is that we keep constantly electing the same people over and over again. Because the problem is
Howard Mazer, Radio 1, that's not elected. That's all choice.
Well, that's choice. Howard and I went to junior high school together. I know what kind of person he is.
What kind of person is
he? He's a person who now feels that he's in complete control of that Baltimore City. Well, he is in complete control of that Baltimore metropolitan area Radio 1 stations. And as long as the bottom line shows up to the African-American controlled, but not owned, controlled population of Radio 1, it's fine. It's fine.
They showed me who they were some time ago. I mean, the people that I'm hearing on their station are just not people I would want my children to raise up to emulate.
I think that what we have is a failure of the listening audience and the voting population, and all of the initiatives that we're saying has more to do with who can change it. Because we're waiting for Howard Mason, we're waiting for the State Radio 1.
I thank God for Radio 1, because if it weren't for them, we wouldn't have this.
Well, but
I got so disgusted with how I was being treated, and they started making me pay. And I'll be damned if I'm your slave, your sharecropper.
Well, everybody that's sub-hosting right now for 2 weeks is not getting a nickel.
Sucker.
Not a penny.
Sucker. You got to pay people.
I mean, you had Lawrence Bell, you had TJ Smith, you have Kathy. I don't recall who's after Kathy. I know that, and all prayers do go out to Larry Young, who's at Levendale. Who had a very, very, very tough time when he was taken to the hospital.
Did he even be on the radio? I mean, when I call the show, it's not the most intelligent conversation.
Well,
he act like he can't talk or articulate.
Well, I'm
like, damn, dude, when are you going to pass the damn ball? It's 2022. See, these young people ain't waiting on these old heads. You got your Corey McRae's out there. You got your Antonio Hayes is out there now. Larry and them time been gone 30 years ago. Why are they still at the water fountain?
The question is those that's at the water fountain right now, are we
Look what Miss Sylvia says. She wrote, he's a damn disgrace to black people. Now, why are we afraid to say that? Because it's the damn truth. In a set up there hijack the black community and our media, and it ain't black owned. It can't be black owned when you got Howard Mason as your general manager.
And then if you listen to it, dang it, I thought I had cut my phone off. I'm sorry. But when you listen to it, it's very clear that it says that it is majority African American run. That's the bottom line.
That's bull.
Well, I'm just saying that's the bottom line. I mean, I'm not going to. I mean, Larry Young is in the hospital.
So how do it look when you got one disgraced legislator bringing on another disgraced legislator? What kind of dumb SHIT is that?
But do we say the same thing up the dial on FM when they have a convicted former police commissioner?
What the hell can he tell me about Baltimore? And Norris was with Pew up in New York. You remember girl number 2? So why are they masturbating the black community?
Because
they should be ashamed of themselves if they had any decency. But they don't. And you know why they don't? I'm going to tell you why we had a problem with it. Because their mama didn't whip their ass.
Well, I think that what we also have is we have too many apologies.
Their mother didn't whip that ass. See, if they had my mama, first of all, you wouldn't have been hijacking Associated Black Charities and all these other people for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Damn what the white man doing. You lied to us. You lied to the black community, and you tricked them people on election day up there in Walbrook Junction. And you thought you were too good, too cute, too ugly. And you still do. I said it what?
I believe.
Tell them come on down here to Carlton Avenue. And when the last time they've been to the black community? They talk about the black community. I don't see them in the black community.
Unless it's a planned event.
And 5 Mile House don't count.
And they don't go to 5 Mile House anymore. I mean, that's moot. Their new places are Black Swan and a couple of the other restaurants where they can fold napkins. I mean, the black community needs an enema, and those who we have to look at, and I agree with Sylvia. I mean, things that we have to look at is this. There was a period historically in the Black community where those that fought for civil rights, and after they had finished fighting for civil rights, they all went and got the political seats, and they were supposed to come out of those seats in the 80s and allow my contemporaries to roll in, and then we should have been rolling out in 2000, and then the younger folks would have been coming in between now and 2020 and 2022. What happened was they stayed too long. The Agnes Welches, the McFaddens, the Kwesi Mfumis, all of the people that are just staying.
And then Kwesi come back.
He came back because they voted for him, though. Let's be clear. He came back because they were voting for him. And I just believe that it's up to the the people who are voting, the voters, to make their minds up on where they want this place to go. And right now,
Mike, we need, this traditional system ain't working. We need to go back to the old school, put on that all black, catch these politicians coming out their boyfriend or girlfriend house or out the strip club or the hoe house and put that bat on them. That's all they understand. That's what never happened to them. They were not properly educated.
But you had mechanisms in place.
We don't today.
Well, I'm saying
why don't we today?
Right. I mean, but you kept black politicians in place because you had a tradition.
Oh no, they think they keeping us in place.
Well, now
when you go to talk to Antonio Hayes about North Avenue, he gonna tell me some crap about 1/3 of Santan don't have cars. What the hell does that have to do with anything? North Avenue traffic is bottlenecked from Coppin. Yeah. Whoever did it at Coppin was the dumbest damn idea, because that's where you got more traffic going on in North Avenue. Why would you limit your options? It seems, if anything, you would expand your options. But that's the dumb SHIT that they tell people in this part of town because I guess they got a degree or they got a title or something. I mean, Antonio makes you look at Barbara Robinson like, damn, did I really vote for him over her?
I remember going
under. She has some understanding of the historical context of the black community, not somebody that ain't much more educated than Larry Young. We deserve better in the black community, and we're really tired of people selling us out to live in Ashburton like it's Owens Mills. No, it's not.
Well, your tax bill will let you know that it's not every year. But I speaking of North,
because they got white addicts up in Ashburton now today too.
Oh, well, you can go in.
The more you try to run from the hood, the more you run right into your own damn people.
Oh, absolutely. And coming down North Avenue, as you were saying, I was coming out of Coppins and made the right to head towards the junction, and I literally ran over all of the little rubber sticks because I didn't see them.
See, they were put there clearly by people who did not grow up in our neighborhood. Miss Sylvia tell you, the little damn white cones were put there by white girls, white guys that live in another community. They don't come to that community because if they did, they would know they're in the damn way.
Yeah, they're in the way because, like I said, I ran.
Who does that? Somebody that doesn't live there.
Absolutely. But
so why do we keep letting people who don't live here make decisions for people who do?
But then when the people run for office with they don't even have opponents.
I ain't got to run for office. You take a damn bet and you go wait for them up in their 9-to-5 job.
No one should run for office without opposition. I don't care.
Well, they're going to have 4 years. Hey, unless they come take me out, we're going to be on them like white on rice. Because quite honestly, they fail. And if it's above your pay grade, just let somebody else do the job.
No, and I agree. But again, it's up to the population.
And then they act like it's theirs. When I see Elijah Cummings dying in office, and then I see Kwesi come out of retirement to get that very same seat. And then I see, what's his name? Van Hollen had a stroke. But they're going to get a white boy to replace Van Hollen.
It would be up to the governor.
and a white person to replace Cardin, because we've never had a black U.S. senator.
Yeah, we've never had a black elected statewide.
What kind of retarded SHIT is that?
As I've said, this is the last opportunity for the Black Revolution. And you're not going to, I have more people to say to me, our ages, our contemporaries, that will say to me, well, Michael, it ain't all about color. It ain't all about race. Well, it may not be all about race with you, but it's all about race.
Yes, it is. Baltimore has always been about race.
It's all about white.
Go tell somebody that don't know. Yeah. Baltimore had the largest population of free blacks prior to the Civil War.
Thank you.
When you don't know your history, go over there and talk to my granddaughter. She's about 1 year old.
Yeah.
You might can fool her. Baltimore City Public Schools is a goddamn shame.
It's a hell of a budget. I mean, we're reading through it as much.
I'll be damn, I'm going to pay you $500,000 and you producing 0.3 GPAs.
But you've got to look at the board. If the board has always been appointed, well, not always been appointed for the 131 years of public education in this state, in this city, it has always been appointed. So, because she's no more than an employee. That's all she is an employee. It is up to the school board to set the standards, to ask, this is what we expect our superintendent to do. But you got a superintendent who's actually telling you that they CEOs, like they running cab companies.
Hey, she'd have been fired a long damn time ago. You
Absolutely.
See what Miss Sylvia wrote, and this is Kenny Harris's mom. She got the right to say whatever she wants.
Oh, I know Miss Harris. I know very well. Yeah.
They milked in the black community with permission from Martin O'Malley and others. Martin O'Malley came in here, and I saw these black politicians get bent over by old chump from Montgomery County.
Whew, did you see it?
I went to Lamel, man. You know what they would have did to him up to Lamel? They'd have took his lunch money, his mama's lunch money, his daddy's lunch money, his brother's lunch money.
And his tennis shoes.
And his tennis shoes. Lucky if they let you keep your pants. Then he come in here and punk these otherwise thorough black people. Like my mother said, you should have got your hind parts with. You let him take your money.
Yeah, I've heard
you deserved it.
Yeah.
You ain't fight for what I bought. What I bought and worked for, you let somebody take it from you?
Yeah.
She said, don't come in here crying. You got to throw down, son. You got to throw down.
But here we are. Here we are.
Like coon boogers.
Here we are with millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars.
Classrooms with ice
down the streets. Up and down Pennsylvania Avenue, up and down North Avenue, up and down Park Heights, up and down East Baltimore. And yet, you got nothing. We got nothing. Because
we ain't got a damn supermarket.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, the black people out Liberty Road ain't got it much better. And they got a Sonic, they got the Walmart, but they done closed 3-4 supermarkets out Liberty Road. So we think we moving.
Open up. Lido's is opening up over there by where the Ollie's was.
I know, but we think we have arrived. And don't realize that when you get out to Randallstown, you got to fight too. Half of the people don't even know who the elected officials are out there in Baltimore County.
And if you go to the majority African American high schools in Baltimore, West Side County.
Are you talking about Owens Mills?
No, I'm talking about Randallstown, Woodlawn, and scores are some of the lowest scores in the county. People are buying $300,000 and $400,000 houses, but yet your school system is starting to slowly decline. And I
remember that brand new high school. I went out there, Owens Mills,
right?
And I was just looking at some of the vandalism that had happened to it in such a short time.
Well, I mean, the same thing happens here in Baltimore as well. I mean, we build 21st century schools without solar paneling.
Yeah, like Dorothy Height Elementary over there in Reservoir Hill that the
went
black
there.
kids in the neighborhood cannot use.
Right.
We've been
I went
saying
there.
that for the past 5 months, and not one politician, including Antonio Hayes, has said a damn word about it. So they brag about Martin O'Malley's 21st century schools that black children cannot even use.
Or the community. Or the community. I walked into that particular school that you're speaking about. I walked into the gymnasium, which what I thought was outstanding, beautiful blind floors, the whole thing in the gym. And then I asked the principal or the lady, I don't think she was principal, I said, well, when does the community get an opportunity? I know they got some good games because, I like basketball. Not that I play anymore. I said, but I know they got some good games. So, oh, no, we closed the school at 3:30 or whatever the time is.
What kind of crap in a city where our young people's lives are jeopardized every day because we have not effectively provided for them? See, that's why I'm wondering, maybe we should just take an Antonio Hayes and throw his ass in the harbor.
Well, or you run
we get in these positions and act like it's ours.
Or you put
I'm the man. I'm Tough Tony. Them is a bag of rocks.
Or you put somebody to run against him and take his seat. You're not going to pull him out of the seat unless you put the mechanism together and organize.
Baby, God got a way of answering prayers.
Well, now I do agree with that. You know that very much so.
Catherine Pugh was living on top of the world. She thought her SHIT did not stink. And she destroyed black people with otherwise stellar reputation. I didn't like JP Grant per se for supporting her, but I wasn't knocking his business. And Diane Bell, she's like a mother to me. To get her all hemmed up in your old funky old unedited book made me want to put hands on her.
But
you destroyed people. And then somebody has the audacity to put your funky ass on the radio. Kathy Hughes is disconnected from the black community. Shame on her ass.
I mean,
I don't care how much money you got.
When you go,
I don't care who your boyfriend or girlfriend is, you're stuck. You're stuck.
When you go to Richmond, Virginia.
Don't mention Maggie.
And you
ain't no Maggie Walker.
No. You spend $1.3 million in Richmond, Virginia, to bring a casino to Richmond, Virginia, and an African-American school board member raises $60,000 to go against taking this land, turn into a casino, and you lose, Kathy Hughes. She lost that race. She lost after spending $1.something million against $60,000. Why? Because a young girl down there that's on the school board that I've spoken to a few times, they fought it. They organized the community.
God don't like ugly and care less for beauty. You can't keep doing funky stuff to the black community like Kiefer Mitchell. I'll never forget when the gay marriage bill passed. Now I saw Kiefer do a backward somersault. And the only thing is, it was not an issue in the black community.
No.
So why is my elected official excited about something that's not a priority in my community? Is it to please Martin O'Malley? Or was he auditioning for Larry Hogan? I don't know. But these people clearly lack melanin, testicular fortitude, and any love for the black race at all.
But again, if we depend on the elected officials, then when they don't do the right thing, then we should unelect them. But what we do is we don't even put a candidate up, Donnie. Most of
Mike, we dealing with a pandemic. A lot of people. I talked to a lady for 2 hours yesterday dealing with Baltimore City and contractors coming in and destroying the house. You'd be surprised at the phone calls I take. I take the phone calls of a councilman, a delegate, a state senator, a congressman, and a mayor. And no, I don't want nothing. I don't want none of their offices. I don't want anything they can come back and take back. Because I ain't Nick Mosby. Mackenzie Frost come chasing me with that microphone. She might find it somewhere she didn't know she had.
Well, I tell you what,
I noticed she only messed with suckers.
Or runners, as we say. Because if you're running, then you got a problem. You couldn't run me, little white girl. You can't. You
On
can't
your
run
best
me, little
day.
white girl.
On
I
your
ain't let no
best
big
day.
white boys run me, so I know I ain't gonna let no little white girl run me. And I wish I had a creative answer or an answer to give you. I was reading Bayard Rustin's book Down the Line, and he was saying that the biggest problem that we have with black politicians is, again, they're either black politicians or politicians who happen to be black. And
They make a little bit of money. And see, here's the thing. Ain't like you making no real money.
Unless you city council, you're making 70, almost 77, and you ain't doing nothing.
Well, down in Prince George's County, they make $1.10, $1.20.
And $1.40 something in DC.
So people leave the House of Delegates to go to the city level to make more money. Yeah, but here's the thing, and this is the problem. If you haven't made that kind of money before, you do us all a disservice taking it now.
Yes.
Because that means you ain't got no damn money. You depending on tax. And ain't nothing worse than somebody stunting who broke. When you think about all of the problems our elected officials have faced over the past several years, it all boils down to money. Nat Oaks. That's Larry Young friend. He got hemmed up in 85 and got hemmed up 30 years later like he ain't learned jack S-H-I-T. When are we going to talk about that? When are we going to talk about Keith Haynes, who mysteriously disappeared when there was some allegations of some type of sexual misconduct? And I heard something about little boys. Why is that so taboo? Kind of like, what's his name? The father, the one that boy dumped 6 hot ones in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Father Blackwell.
Yeah.
They put 6 of them up in his ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Quite a few.
That don't ask, don't tell thing.
Well, again, if the population doesn't, well, see, first thing, we're so disorganized locally that we got to start really at the ground level and start organizing the people. If you don't start organizing the people, this is what we get.
No, we got to show up and catch cats coming out their girlfriend house and show them the pictures like, this is you, right? Now, tomorrow, let me tell you how you going to vote. Because otherwise, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, all of them going to see this. Well, we got to go back old school. Because playing fair don't work.
No, but I'm just saying that there are options that you have. That's one. And you've got to organize the people. If you don't organize the people, you get no help. People don't know what it means to have a good school system in the last 27 years, Donnie. The last 27 years has been doing this. Downhill. People don't understand.
What about you know, you're talking about the parents. What about the police?
What about them? We don't have police. We have occupiers.
Did I hear Daryl D'Souza on the radio station?
Yeah. He supported, also he is part of that group that supported the guy running for state's attorney, Taru.
What happened to Daryl D'Souza? I thought the brother had some soul.
It was the taxes, brother.
Time out. Nobody goes to jail. No police commissioner go to jail because they ain't fill out their taxes. What really happened?
Two of them have.
What really happened?
Taxes.
No, that ain't it. That ain't it. You can sell that crap to somebody across the street. I'm from North Avenue. That fish is foul and funky. Tell the truth and shame the devil. And then he's on the radio. So what, I got to go to jail to get a popular radio show? Is that what we telling the kids, right?
That's pretty close.
Go blow the taxpayers' money and you can get a show too.
That's pretty close because you don't have the type.
You know, Zachary McDaniels told me if we re-voted for Sheila, it would make Baltimore the laughing stock of late night shows. Well, what in the hell are we now when the mayor that you took over, Sheila, Kathy Pugh, got hemmed up for an illiterate book. Because I'm an editor. I got 2 books. And when I saw the typos in that book, it was like, damn. Who you looking out for, boo?
That was that's it. You know, that's part of the history.
And you dragged Diane Bell into it. She didn't need your help.
Well, there's a lot of people that were involved in this from the standpoint of what are they doing for
Wes Moore got one of them. Didn't he go hire T. Shedwitz? T. Shedwitz used to be over there with Kathy Pugh too, didn't she?
No, T. Shedwitz was in the school system with Alonzo.
Under Pugh.
Gone from 16, let's see, Pugh was there from 16, 17, 18, 19. No, Alonzo was gone as a state
over there with Alonzo.
Okay. Well, I mean,
all I'm saying is we see the same names.
Oh, absolutely.
We see the same names, kind of like a baseball roster. This is the same rotation of names.
There's no bench. It started with Kirk Smoke now. When Kirk Smoke did 12 years as the mayor of Baltimore. And
Big ups on no scandal. Big ups on no scandal.
Yeah, but when he left, they had no bench. They had no bench.
Well, Dan Henson admitted that to me years ago that they did not successfully have a plan to pass the ball. Absolutely right. Now what?
So then Martin O'Malley came. And for the next 25 years,
he acted like black people's father.
Yeah, we've been eating Martin O'Malley's shit for the last 25, 30 years in the city.
All right, so let's go ahead and do the rundown. For Attorney General, you got Anthony Brown against Marty Marr's wife.
I got to go with Anthony Brown. Even though I'm not a fan of a super fan. I'm a fan, but not a super fan.
Okay, Anthony Brown over Katie O'Malley. Brooke Learman is going against, I guess it's time for me to write my Black Dream Team ticket. You know, Wes Moore, Tim Adams, and Anthony Brown.
That's the black ticket.
They ain't the blackest of dudes.
That's the black ticket. And that's not a ticket that's impossible, except every state legislator in Baltimore City is supporting Brooke Lieberman, who's only been in the Senate.
She came on this show and said she didn't have nothing for black business.
She's only been in the Senate 7.5 years.
She had no rap for black business.
No.
When I asked her that question, now she might have an answer, but you've been in the legislature long enough for her that she should have had a more intelligent answer.
Absolutely.
And she did not. She essentially told the black community to kick rocks. And now, so they go and cozy up to Mary Washington and all the other black elected officials across the state.
All of them. Every black elected official in Annapolis from Baltimore City who is supporting her is Jill Carter, Antonio Hayes, Corey McRae, Charles Sidnor, and Mary Washington.
They done lost their goddamn mind. And I'm ashamed of them. Every last one of them.
City Controller Bill
Every last one of them. No, see, this is what we also know. None of our state senators have a viable relationship with Prince George's County.
No. And then
we need to stop pointing fingers and start working together.
The person who I had a person.
And I believe in term limits. I think you've been there 2 years. It's probably time to go. Just go home.
I mean, I even talked to Curtis Anderson. I said, Kurt, you're leaving the Senate. You're leaving the delegation. You barely got in the last time out the accusations of you.
Selfish.
But yet you're supporting Lieberman?
It's Brooke Learman.
I don't care. Brooke. and I know
that's the self-hate.
Yeah.
That's self-hate. That's what Nick almost said the N-word. That's what Negroes go to Morgan State for.
Hey,
they go to Morgan State to come out and vote for Brooke Learman.
Well, I'm a Morgan man, and
I'm a Morgan man, but I'm gonna tell you the truth, and I'm ashamed of the devil. We ain't learning common sense at our schools.
I mean, I even got a call from a black guy that I know and sent me a card of this guy Coogan for sheriff. And I said, wait a minute, 33 years when John Anderson got into the sheriff department, less than 9% of the sheriffs were black. 90% of the sheriffs are black. And you're telling me, even though this is...
You got black people telling you to vote for Kojin.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, you guys know you're talking to the wrong guy.
And you know you're going to lose.
Yeah, you're going to lose. John going to whip his butt.
John is the last semblance of a black machine in Baltimore.
He's the last one. You're absolutely right, Don.
And that's what these Negroes don't get. Corey McRae did not support John Anderson.
It's a bunch of them not.
And you got a right not to support John Anderson. But let me tell you something. You might think you gangster.
No, that's gangster.
You ain't gangster.
That's gangster down
You
there.
ain't gangster.
That's right.
So, Mike, we'd have gave him too much. We got to do it again tomorrow. You coming back?
Yeah, I'll probably come back because we want to talk about the festival and talk about all the stuff going on. And any vendors that are out there, tomorrow we'll talk about. All the vendors are free. After I got the funding from the racetrack folk, I said any vendor wanted to come, they could come for free. So we're trying to fill this whole lot up. So
give me the details, Mike.
You know. But thank you, Donnie, for having me there. And I'll see you tomorrow at 9 if you want me here.
Absolutely. 9 o'clock.
My brother. Peace. Thank you, Miss Harris.
Peace. Good morning, world.